Awesome. So we will get diving in right in. We have a hard stop at the hour, so we'll get jumping in right quickly. So this is one that we've been pretty excited about. Actually, White Sands was in the research department, and through the vote, you guys voted. I think it was like 20-2 to put it through to get recommended. So that was awesome, and we're really looking forward to having you guys on here. We got Brandon and Adam out here. And so, Brandon, maybe why don't we come on, have you just kind of go a little bit over yourself and your background and Adam, and then we'll jump into White Sands.
Definitely. First of all, guys, I appreciate you guys having us on here today. And yeah, so let me just kind of give you guys a quick background about my story. So, um, obviously, well, I'm not gonna say obviously. That sounds ridiculous. So I got my start in NFTs about, man, maybe about a year ago, and I remember seeing. It's funny. I actually saw one of Alex Becker's videos, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm like quitting all the other crypto stuff, and I'm going all in with NFTs and gaming." I was like, that's interesting. Let me go take a look at exactly what this is all about. So I remember just going in there doing some research, and basically, I ran across NFTs, and I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy. Like, not a lot of people are talking about this, and I can see how this can really become an emerging trend. And so, in business, how I have been able to become successful was staying on the cutting edge of trends. And so I just dove deep into NFTs, started studying everything, really trying to, learn the game. And I just started investing into projects and investing into projects. And I had some winners, I had some losers, but then I started to kind of find a flow that was starting to work. And then, ironically, Matthew Jang actually introduced me to CyberKongs. I remember he hit me up in the chat one day and was like, "Hey, I'm in this group called CyberKongs. You should check it out. It's pretty cool." Da 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 da. So I go into CyberKongs, check it out, and I'm like, "Wow, this is cool. This is like a whole new world. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in here." And it just really intrigued me that I never was on Discord before. I never knew about any of this stuff. And so I just dove into the CyberKongs. I bought a couple babies. And then I remember, the price was going up a lot. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy like a Genesis Kong. And so I ended up buying a Genesis Kong and then started seeing the benefits of that. Bought another one, started seeing the benefits of that. And then kind of my next kind of really big project was actually it was Bears Deluxe. I had a lot of success with that. And then from there I ran into NFT Worlds. And I found NFT Worlds actually during the mint inside of CyberKongs. And essentially from there, like that just really opened my mind to what was possible. And so I was an early investor in NFT Worlds. I actually got in on the mint for free, and I ended up purchasing about 60. I actually had about 64 worlds. Now I own about 63 of them. And I started making YouTube videos and things like that. And then I was an early investor in Gray Boys as well too. Actually, right now, I'm the top holder of Gray Boys. And so yeah, like that's how I kind of got into the space. And then after a couple of these hit, it was kind of like, all right, well, I mean, this is doing good, but like, how can I contribute to the space? And so after seeing what NFT Worlds was doing, I decided, you know what, I want to actually come out with my own project. And basically, that's how we came up with White Sands. We basically, I actually Matthew and I, we both invested into Republic Realm. We bought the Fantasy Islands, and then that kind of triggered this idea that hey, like we both did really well with those, and I was like, well, maybe I could do something like this on NFT World, but make it a little bit better. And so yeah, that's kind of how we got here, and I'm sure we'll go deeper into like the project. But yeah, that's basically the short story of how we got here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's really cool, and how we both kind of like that was my kind of bigger start was like CyberKongs. And actually, I'm in a mastermind with Brandon as well, so I've been learning quite a bit with NFTs and just crypto in general. and from there, so that's been awesome, and there and seeing everything kind of play out, and the NFT
Mhm.
world now. I mean, shit, dude, having 63 of those and 200 great boys, dude, you're setting up pretty well. uh, Adam, would love for you to pop out and kind of share a little bit of your background.
Yeah, happy to. Well, first of all, thanks for inviting us today. We really appreciate the opportunity to speak to the community. So I don't even know what to call myself anymore. I suppose the term serial entrepreneur is probably the best fit. But I've been starting and growing and selling companies for a very long time now. Most notably, I was founder and CEO of a software company that I founded here in Austin, Texas. That Microsoft acquired in 2015. And so I spent a few years working out at the mothership in Seattle at Microsoft as their director of gamification. I learned what it was like to build and sell, market software at pretty ludicrous levels of scale, at least comparatively to my prior life. I came back to Austin. I was chief operating officer of a medical education company. I was their fourth employee. That company now has over 100 employees, just helped them through a $25 million fundraise. And so my background is definitely more Web 2 than Web 3. I've owned Ethereum and Bitcoin for a very long time. I minted a crypto kitty 4 years ago, although I can't really say I knew what it was or at least what it represented at the time. But what happened with me and my story was that early last year, I started learning about digital real estate and came upon Decentraland. And I thought this concept of owning land in a metaverse was really interesting. And so I bought one kind of impulsively. And then as I dug into it deeper, I was like, I bought in the wrong location. Like I should have bought over here. And so I decided to throw what I bought up for sale so that I could buy something else. And that night it sold for $4,000 more than I paid for it. And I kind of looked in the mirror and I said, I wonder if I could do that again. And so then I bought the land that I was going to buy, but then I put it up for a couple $1,000s more than I paid for it. And the next day it sold. To buy this whole thing. I was like, could I just do this once a day forever? Like, what the hell's going on here? And I started really at that point just doing tremendous amounts of research, and that's when I started learning about NFTs more broadly and generative projects and Bored Ape Yacht Club, and it really struck me within that first week or two. Oh, holy shit! Like, this is infallible proof of ownership of a digital asset. And I started just racking my mind in terms of the impact that could have on a variety of markets, many of which haven't even really been tapped into today, well beyond collectibles and art. But it really excited me. And so I dove in, feet first. I, bought a Bored Ape. I, got into Cool Cats and Gutter Cat, dozens and dozens of other generative projects, mostly just to learn and to get into the community and to understand, what was kind of making these tick. And from there, very similar to Brandon, I wanted to leverage my own background. So I decided to start my own generative project. It was called Hungry Wolves. It sold out in January, but it's a 3D PFP NFT, but it has gamified mechanics and community mechanics that sit behind it. Very proud of that project. But what happened to me about, I'm going to say a month, 6 weeks ago, was I decided to finally take some time and learn more about NFT worlds. And I had actually bought one months before that for very little money, and it was just sitting in my wallet as kind of a speculative thing that I bought some night when I was just kind of dicking around on OpenSea. And I didn't really appreciate what it was, but I said, all right, let me look into this project. And so I started reading all the documentation. I started asking some questions in the Discord, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I couldn't believe what was sitting in front of me, and it was almost like nobody understood what the heck this thing actually was. That it's accessible on any device, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation, Oculus, because it's built on the Minecraft engine. There's 100 million people that know how to build and create on the Minecraft engine. That the worlds are interconnected, and so you can actually have a metaverse very similar to what you read about in Ready Player One with the Oasis, where you can walk through doors and portals and jump from place to place, but carry things like your world token, the economic basis, as well as even assets with you along the way. And when I really understood what this was, my first inclination was that I must be misunderstanding it. There's no way that this already exists. And so I reached out to Temp Tranquil and to ArcDev, and I said, hey, can we do a call? I'm curious. I've got some questions. And Temp Tranquil reached right back out to me. He said, sure, let's do it. And I talked to him for like an hour and a half the next day. And he not only confirmed everything that I had learned, but he added to it. He started telling me about the faucet program and, the way that they're going to be incentivizing development and a variety of other things. And I asked him some really difficult questions about the relationship with Microsoft, and they had good answers. And I just couldn't believe what I had uncovered. And at this point, NFT worlds, it's not like I was the first person to realize they had value. They were about 3 ETH. But I started screaming from the rooftops, this makes no sense. I can't believe how awesome this platform is and what it represents for the future of a metaverse. And, within about 2.5 weeks after that, they were up to 17 ETH. And, I was joking around with my friends like, I can move markets. This is interesting. But I think it was a little coincidental that just a lot of people started doing their research and understanding what this was all at the same time. And so for me, with my background, one way I can invest is, with money. And I bought a bunch of NFT worlds, at around 3-4 ETH. And I'm pretty psyched that I did. But the other way that I can invest is with my time. And so I started looking at all the projects in the space, trying to figure out, is there a way that I can get involved in something related to this? Because I really think that this is special. And one of the projects I came across was this nascent Twitter page that had very few followers and didn't seem to, really necessarily be structured yet. But it was the page that Brandon had created for White Sands. And what struck me about it was that it said it was being built on NFT worlds, but the images didn't look like they were built in Minecraft. They looked like they were eons beyond what I thought Minecraft could do. And so I reached out to him and I said, very similar to when I reached out to ArcDev and Temp, I said, can we do a call? I'd love to chat. And he said, sure. And so we talked for a bit, and 1 hour turned into 2, turned into 3. We talked again that evening, again the next day. I think we spent like 6 hours together over the first 24 hours. And it became really apparent to me that not only was Brandon the type of person that I would want to work with, and he had a lot of skills that I think would work really well with what I can bring to the table, but he had figured out a way to build at a level of quality that I just had never comprehended could be done, and didn't seem any other projects had figured it out either. I never realized that with the right, mods and texture packs and shader packs, that you can create such realistic looking worlds on top of Minecraft and then host them in an interconnected way with NFT worlds. And so I couldn't believe when he told me that these weren't artist renderings that he had paid for, that this was an actual product that had already been started. And he was showing me walking around the world and otherwise, and it just blew my mind. And I know that NFT worlds represents, I think, our best shot for an interconnected open metaverse where we're going to have thousands of interactive worlds and experiences that people are going to genuinely feel like they can hop from one to the next and not feel like they're leaving the four walls of a game, but feel like they're existing inside of an ecosystem. And that to me is just incredibly exciting. And for this project that we're building and that we're launching the mint for tomorrow, our vision is that we want to be the home base inside of that metaverse. We want, at the end of the day, you can go and save a princess from a dragon in the castle. Maybe you earn some world token. Maybe you take that and go use it to play a round of golf and pay your greens fee with it. Maybe you win some, world token on hole 17 by getting a hole in one. And then you take it into White Sands. Maybe you pull into the virtual DMV and customize a license plate to pull into your vehicle and, drive up to your garage where you can hang out with your friends that night, put your NFTs on the wall, your trophies on the shelf, and you've got a place that you call home, that you own inside of this broader metaverse that is built at a level of luxury and quality that's unparalleled, unprecedented in the space. And I'm really, really proud of what we've built. I'm almost astounded by it every day. Just a couple of days ago, Brandon was showing me a live stream of him walking through some of the new homes. And I just jumped out of my chair. I can't even contain my excitement for what we're building. And I can appreciate it not just as a creator, but I can appreciate it as a collector and somebody that would have just bought the hell out of this if I was not actually working on it and having the privilege to work on it every day. So that's my background in terms of how I got involved all the way up through the project.
Dude, I love it, man. And yeah, it's really cool to see. And I think there's a lot that they're doing, That's very interesting. I'm very curious to see how this all plays out. It's really cool to see that obviously they got one of the most developed ecosystems already, having 100 million players that already play on Minecraft. And so, yeah, just really curious to see how you guys are taking that now, and then what you guys are doing with White Sands. So maybe let's start diving into there, and then maybe as one of you guys are explaining about White Sands, if some of you guys can, I don't know if Phantom of the Opera here, if anyone's able to start maybe post some pictures of what you guys got in there as far as what some of the stuff looks like in the AMA questions chat here.
Yeah, Armin, are you able to do that and grab them out of sneak peeks? He just texted me. He says he's got it. Beautiful. Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, so let's dive into the project a bit, and we'll keep it relatively high level. I think a lot of people that are here probably have been in the Discord at least a little bit, or looked at the white paper otherwise, and I want to make sure we open it up for your questions if there's specific stuff that you guys want to ask. But let's lay a little bit of a foundation in terms of what we're building and what the Mint is actually for tomorrow. So it all starts off with what we're calling a parcel pass. We have 3,000 open world plots of land, what we're actually calling islets. Islet is a real word, by the way. You can go into the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It means a tiny island. And so we've built 3,000 very small little islands that have enough space that you can create some pretty awesome stuff on them, but nowhere near as large as what we're calling our master planned homes, which we'll get into in a moment. And so if you mint a parcel pass tomorrow, then you're going to be assigned a islet, and you're going to be able to walk up to it. And if you own that NFT in your wallet for, token number 457, then when you walk onto your islet and port to it, you're going to be able to swap modes in Minecraft and be able to use creative mode to build directly on that space. And so you're going to be able to create anything your imagination can come up with. And we've shown some pretty cool examples inside of the Discord of what we've been able to do, but whether that's a house or a statue or any number of other things that you want to build. And that's going to be an open playground with 3,000 people actively, openly building simultaneously next to each other. And anybody from the public or otherwise is going to be able to go to that area and see what everybody's coming up with. And so we're pretty excited that that's going to be kind of like an open playground for people to get creative and to build whatever it is that they decide that they want as their little home base inside of this broader metaverse. But what we're also doing is creating master planned community homes. And this is the images that, I'm sure you're going to see most of what Phantom of the Opera is going to be posting here. And the idea there is that we've built 250 luxury mansion-like villas that sit up on the cliffside that we've hired real architects and master builders to go and create. They're pretty magnificent, if I don't say so myself. And so spend some time, of course, look at the images. We've got lots of videos up. These are not artist renderings of, what we hope this is going to look like. This is a world that is already built today. And we've got plenty of videos of us walking through the world with our Minecraft characters so that you can see just the depth of, size and the quality of these homes. And so when we do a mint in a couple weeks for these 250 luxury villas, it's only going to be available to the parcel pass holders. And so parcel pass holders will essentially be the whitelist for our master planned homes moving forward. Now, there's a variety of other benefits of holding a parcel pass. For example, we've committed to spend $1.25 million of our mint to buy additional NFT worlds. And those worlds are, of course, going to be opportunities for expansion of other kinds of universes and experiences that we decide to build at White Sands, but we're also going to stake them, and 100% of the world token is going to go back to the Genesis holders on a regulated basis. And so there are benefits of holding a parcel pass as membership into the overall ecosystem, but the first two things that you're really going to be able to, almost tangibly own in the world are either these islets, these small open world plots of land where you can build, and then that acts as whitelist if you're interested in upgrading, so to speak, into a luxury master planned home, what we're initially calling White Sands Islands. Now, those are just the first projects that we're announcing. We will open up more land plots in the future. We will open up more master planned communities in the future so that more people can call White Sands their home in this broader, ever-growing metaverse. But we'll make sure that they have different utility, different aesthetics, and that they don't take away, of course, from the value that's going to be going to the Genesis holders. That's really kind of phase one, is that we have a place that you can build or a place that you can call home. But then we're going to be creating a variety of ways to customize your experience inside of the world. And so we've already announced what we're calling White Sands Collections, which initially will be furniture, pets, and vehicles. We're already building these. And so we have teams of people right now already working on furniture. We've already built a moving vehicle that looks stellar, that works inside the context of our world. And what we're going to be doing is building out these collections, and some of them will be airdrops, some of them will be things that you can purchase in the context of the world, so that you can uniquely customize, whether it be your home or the way that you travel, or the interactions you have with your pet when you're inside of your home. And so we want to make sure that people feel like they can customize the time that they spend inside of the world. The last thing, and probably the most important, is the experiences and the connections to a broader metaverse. And so we are committing to building dozens of high quality experiences on our own inside of White Sands. We want White Sands to be a place that the public comes into, whether they own land or homes inside of White Sands or not. And so whether those experiences are, hot air balloon rides or jet skis or paintball or racing or golf or a marketplace to buy and shop for things, we're going to create those inside of White Sands. And so this is going to be its own sort of sustained ecosystem. But we're also then going to be partnering with other experiences built on other NFT worlds from credible, experienced developers, so that you don't feel like you're even boxed in with the context of White Sands. And so, if you want to go from White Sands into, the games built by, Angels and Devils, or, into Hero Galaxy, or, a variety of other things that are going to come up in the context of NFT worlds, our goal is to build portals and gates that go in both directions, so that you can always feel like you have plenty of experiences to undertake or ways to spend your time, and then come back to White Sands at the end of the day, so that that's your home base in the context of this ever-growing world. So I'll pause there, because that was a pretty high level, but also quite a bit of information, and see if you guys have any particular questions or where you'd like to take the conversation next.
Yeah, so a couple of people have asked, just for some clarity here. So this last image here, is that what those I don't know how you pronounce it, islets? Is that what these ones are? These little islands here, the parcel pass?
So I am on a phone right now and I can't see the images, and so maybe Phantom of the Opera or Blockchain, you guys can comment on that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so that one here, and so there's 3,000 parcel passes that are 0.5 each. Then is it 250 of the master planned?
Of the initial community White Sand Islands, yes, 250 villas.
250 of those, and those are 5 ETH each?
You got it, yes.
They're 5 ETH, so there's 250 of those are 5 ETH each. If you get a parcel pass at half an ETH, then if you were to, that's basically the only way that you would be able to get one of those, one of the master plan ones. But if you were to get that 0.5 ETH counts as what, like a down payment towards the 5 ETH, so it'd be 4.5.
It works out that way mathematically. One of the benefits of a parcel pass is that you get a 10% discount on any master planned community home that you purchase in the future. And so with a 5 ETH price point, 10% is 0.5 ETH. What do you know? It's the exact same amount that you paid for the parcel pass, which candidly was the entire point. We had a lot of people say to us initially, hey, well, if I just want the villa, are you telling me I have to buy this other NFT in order to maybe access it? We want to make sure that, folks that are in that situation do feel like the amount of ETH that they're putting on the parcel pass is kind of like a voucher or a down payment towards the other home. I will note, though, that because of the limited supply, there's only 250 villas, it is going to be a lottery type of a mint. And so if hypothetically all 3,000 of the holders of parcel passes want those 250 villas, well, we obviously don't have enough to go around. And so the way that mint is going to work is that everybody will mint over a 24-hour period. And if you want to mint, then we are going to have you send your ETH through the contract. But at the end of the contract, at the end of the 24 hours, anybody that wins will on-chain be awarded their NFT, and we, of course, will keep the ETH. Anybody that doesn't win one will be notified, and then there'll be a page you can come back to the following day to reclaim and get a full refund of any amount that you put down.
Okay. Okay. So then, okay. Oh, we jumped out of the questions here. Okay. So we got, and then Brandon, maybe you want to kind of touch on, so like when you have something like this, so you mentioned kind of Fantasy Islands, and something because Fantasy Island did something with Sandbox, and it looks not, if you look at what they have compared to looking at this, you look at the quality of their, I mean, I still don't even have my damn island yet on the thing. Never mind, their yacht that they sold for fucking God knows how much ETH. And I can just see this last picture, one of the ones that you have that looks, far better than those. You want to maybe kind of get into a little bit more of that and what you see for the vision of that for White Sands there?
Yeah, man, for sure. So you remember the day we bought those, right? Like the emotion we all had, like inside the community, we were like so excited because we were like, man, we actually own a piece of like virtual real estate. And even though we didn't never have anything, like we just got that little spinning card, like that emotion that we all felt in the community was really satisfying. And you and I both, I mean, we've talked about this so many times, like um they went up a lot from the time that we actually purchased those. And so for me, I just have this vision of actually doing what they were trying to do. And that's no disrespect to them, right? Because of the platform that they're on, I feel like maybe their hands are tied, so they can't really execute to the level that they, promised, or to the level that is even possible, because literally they're waiting on Sandbox. And so for me, I kind of looked at it and I said, okay, this has already been proven. I understand the emotional drivers behind why somebody would want to purchase, land inside of the metaverse. I think that I could take this idea and really innovate it. And so essentially what I wanted to do was I wanted to basically build something that was more realistic, but that had the Minecraft feel, right? So it was like kind of like again, kind of like Ready Player One was kind of the inspiration. It was like you had this element of real world, but then you also had this gaming type of feel. And so for me, when I started building these, that's why I didn't go get like somebody's 12-year-old cousin, and say, hey, could you build some, villas for us and, put this together? No, I went out and got a real architect, right? And then I trained my whole team on how to, basically build. And not only that, but we took it a step deeper where we started changing the materials from the default Minecraft to make everything super high quality, and to make it so that way we could be the only people that have this type of textures and these types of things to like really kind of differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. And so I have still to this day, out of all the NFT worlds, out of everything that's being built, I haven't seen anything that looks remotely close to what we're doing. One, probably because the cost to do something like this would be very expensive. I mean, to build your own texture packs, to build your own, you know, to hire an architect to really come in and do the level of detail that we're doing in these homes, I mean, easily 15, 20 grand. And so when you multiply that by 250, that's very expensive for most people. And so I've thought about all these different ways to give us a competitive advantage, but also ways to create such a strong value proposition that we could really be a pioneer in the space and actually do what 99.999% of people are talking about. And so, yeah, that was kind of like the vision behind this.
Well, and it also, I'm just going to add in, the point that was made, you bought the island a year ago, and what do you have right now? You've got a spinning ticket inside of your wallet. I bought one of those fantasy islands myself for 5 ETH, and I was really psyched when I sold it for 65 ETH, and it definitely raised the visibility for me of sort of the need and desire for people to want to have their own unique space inside of a metaverse. But at the end of the day, what I think I'm more excited about than anything about what we're building is that it's already here. The platform is here. You've seen a lot of these other experiences go live already. And we're planning on launching our metaverse to the point where you're going to be able to log in on your computer, your Xbox, your Oculus headset, whatever it is, in April. That's weeks away, not months away, definitely not years away. And so we are here building the way that we are, and we built so proactively with this project before we even announced it, because we know the way this market works. You know, the NFT world is fickle. You know, one day you're saying you'll chop your right arm off for, you know, a whitelist spot on a project, and the next week you're selling that same thing at a loss to, you know, get into something else. And we know that what we're building here is special, but we don't view it as, you know, an NFT project or even, you know, a metaverse project. What we view we're building here is a really large potential company. And we know that to do that and to keep everybody's sustained excitement and interest, we're going to need to be building a lot relatively quickly at very high quality. And so we needed to make damn certain that if we're going to charge what we are for these NFTs and we're going to set the bar at this level of quality, that we need to show people very quickly that we're actually able to deliver on the promises and commitments that we're making. And that's why, by the way, we're already working on phases of our roadmap that are well beyond where anybody else would even be paying attention. You know, most of these NFT projects, they build, you know, some infographic with a bunch of bullet points that sound really nice, and then they focus all their energy and effort on the first one. And then when that one's done, they say, oh, well, I guess we're going to move to the next thing. We're already talking to folks about experiences. We're already building these vehicles. We already have furniture collections essentially almost done. And we're already at a point where most of these luxury houses are complete. The islets are being laid out. We have almost a dozen people at this point, or I think over a dozen people, that are working on this full time every single day. And that's before we've ever minted a single ETH. That to me is, I think, a big difference between what we're doing here and what you're going to find elsewhere, and definitely setting expectations of delivery very different than what you might find in other metaverse platforms.
100%. And that's one thing that I really like that you guys are doing is that, you know, you see, especially when it comes to gaming, you see all these fucking people that just take a fucking graphic pack and they put it together and they go, look at this fucking game I made. And it doesn't even exist. They just fucking took $100 graphic pack, made it look like it was something that already existed when they haven't even started on it, where you guys have this stuff already built. It's already built already. You guys have already, I like seeing that a lot.
Yeah, you could just name names. Just call out Pixelmon. It's fine.
Hey, hey, shots fired. Hey, but also too, you know, like we don't want to come here to just, no pun intended, play games, right? We actually want to build a gaming company. Like that's our goal. Like we're you know, we want to have like 100 people on staff, right? We're not here to just draw up some little images and be like, all right, guys, hey, we gave you some Minecraft thing, go in there, figure it out. No, like we want to be a leader in the space. Like we're not competing with NFT worlds, right? We're competing with Decentraland Sandbox. Like that's where our head is at, right? And so in order to compete, you know, these guys are raising obnoxious amounts of capital to carry out their mission, and they're not even open yet. That's what gets me, like they're not even open and they're still doing rounds of fundraising, right? And so when we look at the competition and when we look at the marketplace, in order for us to compete, you know, we have to be able to scale and we have to be able to build the right infrastructure and we have to be able to, you know, hire the right teams. Because, you know, what a lot of people don't realize, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day, is that, you know, building costs, it's kind of like the real world and inflation, right? Building costs are going to go up. So pretty soon, people will be priced out of NFT worlds, which most people actually probably already are at 25, 30 grand. And then another, you know, 25 grand to build something of significance, right? So I'm already forecasting what is going to happen. And I want to be well insulated from that, have my own team, and be able to just be light years ahead of everybody else.
Love it, dude. That's awesome. We got some questions from the community here, and I want to make sure that we get all these. I know you guys got 20 minutes, and we got to do a hard stop. Black Nicholson here, he's got two questions. One is, what are the passive opportunities? Like, what is is there a token yield for islets? And then the second question is there the Minecraft fee one time or monthly?
Yeah, those are great questions. So as I shared earlier, we've committed that when the project sells out, we are going to reinvest $1.25 million. Closing that call coming in. We're going to bring in 1.25 million of the capital raised and reinvest it into additional NFT worlds. Now, we're first and foremost doing that because we want to have the right amount of inventory to expand infinitely, regardless of the size of the worlds or whatever it is we're building or the global permissions. We think that it makes a lot of sense for a project in our position to have a bullpen of additional worlds to draw on, so that we are never constrained in that way. But the other is that we're going to stake them. It's going to generate a pretty sizable amount of world token every month. And we have committed to distribute that at 100% to our Genesis holders. So we're not keeping any of that for ourselves. Now, I do want to be clear, the reason we're doing that, the reason we're excited about it, is that we're hoping it's going to jumpstart the economy of the world. And so we're going to have a variety of experiences that cost world or reward world inside the context of what it is that we're doing. And in a perfect world, we want to make sure that when somebody walks out their door from their plot or their home, that they've already got some spending money inside of their pocket that they can go to really experience everything that we are creating and everything that we have to offer. But of course, you're free to do with that world token whatever you like. Minecraft is a one-time fee to access. There is no fee on a monthly basis unless you're participating in servers or games that require it. Ours at this time will not.
Hogspot has another question here. The NFT market is filled with speculators. How do you plan to incentivize people to build on your islets instead of having them sit vacant as speculators wait to see the price rise?
That's a really good question. I'd say first and foremost, we're in a very fortunate position where we're going to be able to limit this mint to one token per holder. And so we have 24,000 people that have joined our Discord enthusiastically over about a 10-day period. We've got people offering to, sell their firstborn child, their soul for one of these whitelist spots. And so that's a great position to be in so that we can hopefully bring as many unique holders into the world as possible. And hopefully when people own one of these things, they are incentivized that they want to build on the one thing they own because they feel an affinity for it, instead of owning 12 of these things and then maybe building on one of them and letting the rest sit vacant. Now, we are never going to be in a position to tell somebody what to do with their plot of land. And so if you want to let it sit vacant, then, power to you. That's perfectly fine. You can buy it speculatively. I think that we've done a really good job of handpicking our whitelist for the most part in this project to people that are really excited about it. And for the most part are excited about it seemingly not just because of the financial opportunity, but because they want to be part of this world. Now, the real question you're getting at is, does it make sense to incentivize people to build and to customize? I think that's a really interesting question. And we haven't talked specifically about what we would do there, but I can even off the cuff come up with a variety of ways that, we could run contests or games that put people in a situation where they are incentivized, whether it's financially or otherwise, to be innovative and to create and to help, really consume the content. And so I can't say specifically what we might do there, other than I think it's a really interesting idea and something we very likely will consider.
And I'll just quickly touch on that too, because I have some ideas. And again, these are all preliminary, but these are just things that are running through my mind on a daily basis. One of the ways I see this playing out is through building out our main island and having commerce on there, so that it gives people a reason to come to the island. It gives the homeowners a reason why they would, want to meet people on the main island and want to create friendships and want to, create business partnerships. And so there's going to be a purpose here, right? It's not going to just be these luxury homes. From my perspective, I see this being something where it's a real economy, where people might wake up every day and might have people working in their shop on the main island, right? And so those are just some of the ideas that I'm thinking about. But obviously, we'll bring everything to the table and figure out the best strategy to move forward.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. I just want to, we got quite a few more questions. And then, guys, we got 15 more minutes. So if you do have any last minute questions, definitely make sure to pop them in here and I'll try and bounce through these as quick as we can. We'll say here, where we go. Act 2 says, how do you compare White Sands to Keys? And I think they're referring to Meta Mansions, I believe.
Yeah,
I
is
don't
that the
think-
project that I watched a video on even just a
Yeah.
week or two ago? The really I guess
like
interesting looking mansions in the sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You
I
wanna
can give
answer
my
that?
perspective on that. I think, look, we're not going to be the only people that are building luxury homes in something you call a metaverse. And so what you really have to ask yourself is, what platform do you want your home in the metaverse to be on? And, personally for me, I want to make damn sure that I'm on a platform that is exciting to other innovators and developers, and that's going to be interconnected in a way where it's going to be perpetually open and exciting. And so when I look at the sandbox, what I see right now is a platform that's been selling ludicrous amounts of ETH of land for years now and hasn't opened up really any of their experiences. They've never given any indication as to whether or not the plots based on their location on the map are going to be easily accessible from a geographic perspective or not. And if anything, the way that the alpha ran about a month ago, it indicates that it actually wouldn't be. That's a platform that you have to learn how to use their tools and their programming in order to create worlds and experiences. And not to say that it's necessarily difficult, but it's new to a lot of people. What excites me most about what we're doing, beyond the innovations and the amazing looking homes and everything else that we're building for White Sands, is the platform that it is being built on. And when you have 10,000 interconnected worlds that have a standardized economy and the ability to connect geographically or otherwise to all of those other experiences, and when you have a faucet program that is providing ludicrous amounts of world token for free to developers as an incentivization and marketing budget for them to bring people in, and an incentivization for those people to have play to earn without those developers needing to pay for it. When I look at the accessibility of the different platforms that this can run on, Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, Oculus, your computer, as well as the fact there's 100 million people out there that already love building and spending time inside of Minecraft, that to me adds up as that's the platform I want. And so they might have built a really cool game for that particular platform, and it might actually have some things that look really nice, but that's not the system that I want to have. That's not the console that I want sitting under my TV. I want to be playing with NFT worlds and that interconnected ecosystem. That's the one that I personally have made a big bet on financially, as well as with my time, and for reasons that I think are pretty meaningful and logical. By the way, I own land in the sandbox. I bought one of those fantasy islands, last year. And so I'm very familiar with what they're doing over there. I've even talked to their CEO on occasion over Twitter. I'm sure Sandbox will be successful. I'm not sitting here saying that Sandbox is going to fail and be some dumpster fire tomorrow. I don't believe that at all. But I do think it's different. And I don't believe that it has nearly the opportunity to scale as NFT Worlds does, which is why I'm so excited with what we're doing here.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we got quite a few. I'm gonna see if we can get all these in here. Okay, so we got Zapdat says, so 3K parcel holders get 100% of the world generated, a bit more than I think what he's saying is like that 1 million world, the 1 million that you guys are going to reinvest into worlds and stake them. Do the parcel holders, is that who's getting the world for that?
So let me break it down. This is all listed in the white paper, by the way, if you want more sort of mathematical detail. But there's $1.25 million that we're going to be using for Worlds. The way that it breaks out mathematically is that $1 million of that is being used to purchase Worlds, where the staking will go to the 3,000 parcel pass holders. 250,000 to the White Sand Islands villa holders, those 250. And the way that mathematically works out is that if you're holding a villa, you're going to earn World Token at exactly 3x the rate of a parcel pass holder. And so you can go into our white paper and basically look at the way that that'll all mathematically play out. But that 1.25 million is broken out as an 80-20 for those different parts of the project that obviously have very different numbers of holders.
Okay, awesome. Wig said, what other value does the pass holder get besides the ability to buy a villa?
So Brandon, you want to talk a little bit about the education pass? Because I think that's a really important piece of value. Obviously, you're going to have your ability to build on the land. You're going to have the World Token coming to you passively. You have discounts and whitelist for future master plan community homes. But like I said, it really also represents your membership into this world and this ecosystem. And I think the education pass is probably the best example of that.
Yeah, sure. So I can touch on that really quickly. So my background is info marketing, education. I really have a passion for teaching people about the things that I learn, about the things that I do. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is our education pass. And so going through this process, everything from, establishing a company, talking to lawyers, building these villas, hiring developers, hiring designers, coming up with different ideas. Really, my perspective on the market, like I feel like that's something that you're only going to get if you've gone through it. And so one of the things that I'm kind of passionate about is really teaching people exactly everything that I've already done. And the format that we're going to do this in has yet to be determined. But one of the things that, the little flicker in my brain goes back to what Gary Vee's doing. And I love the way he set up his kind of educational, platform. And so who knows, maybe it turns into something like that, right? But I definitely see, that pass is going to teach you a set of skills that probably 99.999% of people will never know about because one, they don't know much about the metaverse. Two, they've probably never done anything in Minecraft. And three, they won't have nearly as much experience or revenues invested into the metaverse as we have. So I think that's going to be a really big deal for people.
Yeah, no doubt. Education's a big piece. That's one big piece that we focus on as well. And I know that's something that a lot of people are looking for. So that's awesome. We got a pretty blunt question here from Stags. This is a pretty blunt question. He says, 1.25 million of the mint sales are reinvested into NFT worlds. Do you guys have any other investment plans or ideas for the other 5 million plus for the White Sands project?
Yeah, this is a question we get a lot, so we appreciate the blunt question and the opportunity to speak directly to it. Were you saying something, Brandon?
No, I was saying I love that question.
Look, we're Docs founders. We're transparent. We're here to answer questions. We did 3 of our own AMAs that were each 2.5 hours long. We've done at least a dozen of these with other projects. We're out here front and center because we want to answer questions that are coming from the community. And of course, this is one that we've been getting because look, this isn't a 0.06 ETH, PFP project. We're asking for a lot of ETH here. Between these 2 initial mints. And by the way, that's not the end of it. We're going to be opening up new opportunities for land and master plan communities. We're going to be building experiences that cost World Token. We're going to be delivering collections. That comes down to is you have to look at the scale of what it is that we're trying to build. And so when you're building a PFP project of a cartoon animal and you're minting 10,000 NFTs and then you're, throwing out some, roadmap about, doing some airdrops or whatever it is, it's not particularly resource intensive. Most of these projects, that even the ones that are generating millions of dollars, are running on a shoestring staff of 3, 4, 5 people. And even Bored Ape Yacht Club was running that way up until very recently. And even more recently, they said now they only have 30 people. That's for a project bringing in $1 billion. We already have a dozen people on staff working full time, and Brandon and I are talking about hiring hundreds of people to work on this project. The reason that we're doing this, the reason that we're excited about it, really doesn't have very much to do with the money. Brandon and I are both very fortunately independently wealthy. And so both of us could retire tomorrow if we wanted to. We could sit on a beach for the rest of our lives, and we wouldn't have to ever work again if we didn't want to. The reason that we're doing this, the reason that we're spending so much time on this, is because we're passionate about it and we're having a ton of fun doing it, and we want to contribute to the space and have a legacy within Web3. And for us, that means that we're treating this like a company, and we're treating this like a fundraise, which means that a large portion of the money that is coming in is going to be reinvested into building out this metaverse. And we expect that we're going to be working on dozens of different experiences and master planned homes and collections and other ways to add value into this world regularly. And we want to keep up from an innovation perspective with the extremely fast-paced expectations of the space as best we can. And so, yes, we're going to be raising a few $1 million. But when startups, traditional Web2 startups raise $5 million, nobody looks at them and says, well, wait a second, how are you possibly going to spend all of that money? We're looking at building something here that is pretty magnificent in terms of its sense of scale. And you've got a docs team behind it that have been very upfront about our backgrounds and our expectations and otherwise. But the reason that we're raising this amount of money is because we believe this is the amount of money that we need to hire the teams that we need to move at the pace that we need to actually maintain momentum inside of this market.
And I want to just throw one little cherry on top of that. I want everybody to Google how much money Sandbox has raised, and they're not even open yet. Their last round was $93 million. You don't even know who owns Sandbox, right? So, when you want to compete at a level of the Sandboxes in the Decentraland, we can't play the game like we are a PFP project. We are looking at ourselves as a gaming company. And so in order for us to be able to, thrive and to have a fighting chance in making this thing, as successful or even more successful, it's going to take a team, it's going to take resources. And so that is another reason why we're doing this.
I'm going to throw one more thing into the mix here, which is that the underpinning of this question is, are you guys going to make a bunch of money in running this project? Because the reason that everybody's asking it is, are you guys just going to pocket the money? So let's be very upfront. The answer is no. But I do want to also be clear that Brandon and I both expect to make money with this project. We expect our company to make money with this project. It's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, what matters is we are making certain commitments to you as potential customers for the project, to our landowners, to our holders, in terms of what it is that we are going to be doing and what it is we're going to be building. And for me, the most important thing is we need to make sure that we do the things that we say we're going to do. And so everything that we've committed to do in our roadmap is already being built. We've gone into pretty good detail in our white paper about the aspirations that we have for the project, and even listed out dozens of other kinds of experiences that we anticipate building. And so for me, if I were in the seat of asking myself, do I want to invest half an ETH or 5 ETH into this project, I would be asking myself, I guess, a couple of questions. One is, do I think that the team that is working on this is capable of actually executing the vision? 2, do I believe that they're going to do what they've committed to do? And 3, if they accomplish all of that, do I believe, relative to what we've seen in the market for metaverse land today, for me, I think those are relatively easy questions to answer when you listen back through our 7 hours of recorded AMAs and the white paper that we've put out, and you talk to the community and you look at our professional backgrounds and otherwise. But of course, that's for everybody to decide for themselves.
Awesome, man. Well, we're right up on the hour, so I know you guys have a hard stop here. I don't know if there's any final thoughts that we want to leave with before we bounce here.
No, we really appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity. And the reason we have a hard stop actually is we have another of these AMAs coming up with another project that will be on Twitter Spaces. And so if you jump to, MySpace or Brandon's, you can keep listening to us talk about the project. It'll just be at a slightly different forum. But we really appreciate you guys setting this up and inviting us. And we're happy to continue to answer questions. We hope to see many of you inside of White Sands and participate in the Mint tomorrow. And just let us know how we're doing.
Awesome, man. Well, just want to say thank you guys for popping out, Adam and Brandon and Armin. Appreciate having you guys out here. Thank you guys for coming out, and we'll be looking forward to seeing more from you guys shortly.
Thanks, y'all.
Sounds good. Zheng, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All righty.